What is going on, Badger fans? Welcome to a fun, unique edition of Locked On Badgers. We're going to get a different perspective on this show and one I'm really excited to jump into. So let's go.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, Badger fans? Thank you for making this one of your first listens every day. I really do appreciate y'all so much. And with great guests, we just jump into it because y'all aren't here to hear me talk today. We have a great group of people here. Justin and Taquana Agard, the mother and the father of Omillio Agard, signed in the 2024 class. I want to start here. A, thank you. And then B, I got so many good comments from Badger fans about your son after I had a chance to interview him. And I want to put a couple of them up here. I know I sent a couple of them to you, Justin, but I don't think you saw all of them. And this is just a sampling of what Badger fans had to say after seeing your son be interviewed. Alex says, gotta admit, I'm very impressed with how he carries himself. Badger Blaze says, amazing interview. This dude is going to be our ticket. Oscar says, I was a fan before, but now he's already my favorite Badger. DJ, once I found out what number he's wearing, I'm buying his jersey. Lord Croy, what a great young man. Exactly the type of man we need here at Wisco. And it goes on and on. I could have listed another 20. So How does that make you feel when you see kind of a community embrace your son like that?
I mean, it definitely just feels great to know that this interview really showed a different side of Omillio, his personality, his character, and those type of compliments, they really hit home. And I love those the most because, he's a good football player and, we like the accolades and, the comments, but just to hear about his character, that's always like the best compliment for me.
Yeah. It gets me a little bit teary-eyed. He'll tell you, my mom's a crier. She's going to cry, but it's always happy tears. He's a great kid, and I'm glad that he was able to showcase that. And people were able to just feel that and connect with him in that interview because he's a great football player, but his character is even better. So that always makes us feel amazing.
Well, let me ask you this. How do you keep a teenager in the era of social media? How do you keep them humble when they have 30, 40 offers, when they have fans clamoring for them? How did that process work?
God, I don't know. I've always told them that he's just born for this. Like he's like anointed, he just always had this confidence about himself, this kindness, this good spirit about himself ever since he's been a kid. Like, I'm like, you're really just born for this. Like, you always know what to say, you know how to carry yourself. It's just really who he is and how he is.
And I'd have to add that it's a lot of how he's raised too. Omillio is one of 4. So, that's what we preach in our house. Like, you're humble. That's number 1. That's who you are. You're humble, you're kind, you're always a giver, all of the great stuff about him. Like, it's not something that is just for the camera. It's really who he is.
Yeah. Well, one of the first things I want to hit on is, when did you realize athletically that your son was special? Like, what was the first point you're like, there could be a future here athletically?
Let me answer this one first. I'll say, when I brought him home from the hospital and his hands were so big, his dad was always like, he's going to play football. I'm like, he's 2 days old. Like, we don't know what he's going to do. He just had the biggest hands and the biggest feet for some reason. And he was such a big kid. Like, it's hard to believe now because he has this slender build, but he was like so big. It was just like so compact and big. Like, so that's what I'll say. He knew at 2 days old that that's what he wanted him to do, but I'm sure he has a different answer.
No, I mean, he did have big hands and big feet, but he had very good hand-eye coordination at a young age. And when I saw him grab his bottle, I think he had to be like, I don't know,
4 months, 3 months, 4 months. Yeah.
But he was holding his bottle with one hand as a baby. But I mean, he learned to ride his bike when he was like 4. on his own. Like I probably held the back of the seat maybe 2 times, and he just took off and rode the bike on his own.
Look, he's
Hey, we're learning everything about the backstory, man.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna get out of here. I just wanted to say what's up.
What's up, man? It's good to see you.
Yeah, no, so he learned to ride his bike like really fast. He was super, just like could catch a ball really good. And like when we took him out for football, the first time they put the ball in his hands, he ran it for a touchdown. There's a much more stuff in that story, but that's when I was like, oh yeah, no, I got something here with him.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember where I read this, but there was a camp when he was, I want to say middle school, but maybe earlier. You can correct me on this, where he was playing with the receivers. He was in the receiver positional groups, and then he wandered over to play DB. And you were like, no, get back over there and play receiver.
No, this is a legendary story. I mean, I wanted him to play receiver. He was a really good receiver, honestly. He was super good. But he came to me one day and he was like, Dad, I want to play DB. And I thought it was maybe because he lacked confidence in himself. I'm like, look, you're good at wide receiver. Like, why do you want to play DB? And I ignored it. But I started to get him training as a DB too. And when we went to camp one day, I paid for registration. You pay for a position. He went, I paid for a receiver position at camp. And he goes in line with the DBs, and I'm hot. I'm on the sideline with the parents. I'm trying to signal him like, get on the line with the receivers. What are you doing? And he went with the DBs, and he won MVP. And like he's been to camp before, and that was the first time he ever won MVP at like DB, his first time. And I'm like, okay, you can play DB now.
What would he be like as a receiver if he kept going?
What would he be like as a receiver? He would be like,
I'd say hard to catch.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even imagine him as a receiver no more.
No, it's gone. That
Yeah.
one camp did it.
Say what?
That one camp did it.
That one camp did it. That memory was erased from my mind. I'm like, strictly DB. I can't even associate him with somebody in the league or college as a receiver. Like I can't even see it.
I remember that. And I remember coming to him after hearing it, like, son, you don't want to get the ball? And he was like, Mom, I gotta go get the ball. Like, they're not gonna give me the ball. I'm gonna go get the ball. So I was like, I guess so.
I love that mindset though. Like it's harder to be a DB than a receiver. Like you need more confidence.
Yeah.
What's
rocking? I'm rolling.
Listen, Badger fans are stoked for it because I almost wanted to say we could use both. Like if he wanted to spring back into receiver, we could use a little bit of each. But we needed corners like Omillio, and we're stoked for it. Today's episode is brought to you by our great friends over at FanDuel, FanDuel.com/lockedon for whatever you want to get in on, whether it's parlays, spreads, teasers, futures. It's all there on FanDuel, and this is a great time to do it. New customers. $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you make a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bucks, win or lose, guaranteed to use however you want to use it. Parlay, spreads, futures, teasers, NFL playoffs, basketball, college basketball. That's a great place to do it if you're in on the Badgers and this run that they've had. Go to FanDuel.com. The user interface is incredibly easy to use. You can just get in right away, figure out what you want to do. You don't have to fumble around with a lot of stuff. They made it very simple for first-time users, first-time customers. Plus, it is in terms of getting the payouts, it's fast, it's easy, it's quick. FanDuel.com/lockedon. Get in on the excitement today. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of the NFL and our number one sportsbook for a reason. What's the biggest area of growth for both of you that you've seen from him, either as a leader, a teammate in his couple, going from maybe his junior, which he's talked about was a bit of a struggle, into this senior season and then going into college?
I mean, I've definitely seen him mature a lot in the classroom. Oh man, he's done so much better as a student. I mean, he's always been a good student, but he just really just took it to another level, like 3.0, and I always knew he could do it. And I was just happy to see that level of maturity in him. He's always been a leader in football, on the football field. He always outspoken, always a supreme teammate. But yeah, just maturity in the classroom, mostly academically.
And I would say the same thing. I feel like Omillio, very smart kid, right? But it used to be where we had to push him, like, you got to go to school. This grade, a C is not good enough. Our kids know you better not get nothing less than a C. And the school that he currently is in at St. Joe's Prep, it's a difficult school. It's a tough school. But I'm like, kid, you got it. You can do it. And I feel like he was just doing, at one point, maybe his freshman year, sophomore year, it was just like, I'm going to do just enough. And one day he woke up and it clicked. We didn't have to push him. It just clicked to him. So I feel like the greatest progress for me has also been in the classroom. Yeah.
That's awesome. What about his game that fans maybe not appreciate enough? The basic scouting report is incredibly technically sound, one of the most technically sound corners in this high school class. Athletic, good ball skills. But I've also seen people kind of pigeonhole him. He's a slot guy. That's where he's going to play. What about his game do people maybe not appreciate or understand?
I'm glad you asked that question.
Yes, good.
It's a lot of people always get enamored with interceptions, right? And that's great. We love, getting turnovers, getting the ball back for the offense, but Omillio is the type of defensive back that is going to eliminate a receiver. I've never seen him not eliminate a receiver. So the other team's best receiver, he's going to eliminate him. He's probably going to hold him to 0 catches or less than 2 or 3 50 yards. That's his specialty. He has this innate skill of being able to stay close to a person. The separation just does not happen. He's not going to bite. He's not going to get burnt. He's not going to make a mistake. So that's his skill, and that's what separates him technically from everyone in the country. I mean, everyone in this grade that he's in, this class that he's in, Omillio has been at the top of his class since he's been in the 7th grade. So we've seen these guys for years and years and years. And I've seen these guys for years and years and years because I've taken my son from the East Coast to the West Coast, down to Florida, Texas, Georgia, up north, New Jersey, New York, or everywhere you could think of to see and go against the best of the best of the best. And I have never seen anyone as good as he has been, just as far as just playing defense on a wide receiver.
Well, and he matches up with basically all the big dogs in those camps.
Right. So if you put him in the slot, you put him outside, it doesn't matter. He's just going to eliminate the receiver. He's not going to make any catches. He's just not going to be open.
Let me ask you both this, because this is something that is, because I'm a dad, my kids are a little younger, but you see your kid get ranked. You see Omillio constantly get rated this, rated that, rated this, rankings go up and down. He started as one of the top defensive backs in the country, and then the rankings fluctuate. As a parent, like, how do you deal with that? Like, how frustrating is that? Or does it not matter at all? Like, I'm just so curious of this process.
It doesn't matter to me. He's still my stinky little son who doesn't want to clean his room and, doesn't want to, wants to be a kid at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So I don't pay attention to that stuff. It doesn't matter to me. But I know it happens, right? And we've heard the questions a lot, and it is what it is. I mean, season after season, it depends on a lot of different things. And then at the end of the day, I'm always like, that's always somebody's opinion. Like, how much weight does that really hold?
Mm-hmm.
How I feel about it. It's always great in the beginning. Omillio was a 5-star at one point. He was number 22 in the country. And that was great when it all comes in the beginning, the offers, the ranking, the stars and all that stuff, it feels good. But then when they fall down, it it does have an effect. It does make you feel some type of way, but you have to realize that you didn't change as a player. The number just changed. You're still who you are, and the ranking system, the star system, anybody that's been through it knows, like she said, it's an opinion, someone's opinion, because I've seen kids who have 0 stars who are a lot better than kids I've seen who are 5 stars. And I've seen it go both ways. I've seen kids ranked in the top 25 that were nowhere as good as a kid that I was seeing that was ranked 400 or 300 and something. So, I mean, it benefits you, with the recruiting process, because you're on certain schools' radars, so it helps out. But at the end of the day, everything always gets determined on the field.
I wanted to ask you a little more about the recruiting process. So I did mention before the show, some Badger fans had specific questions. I want to throw some of those up there to make sure we get to those. And one of those is regarding the recruiting process, and it is from Justin. And specifically, he says, do you worry about some of the people being around your son in this kind of recruiting ecosystem and atmosphere?
So, yeah, but that's why you take visits. That's why you meet with people. That's why you in the recruiting process is a vetting process. You're open in communication with them. You're getting to find out who this person is and how they are. We've met with a lot of coaches from other schools, and you see things you don't like, you see things you do like. But I could say when we met with the staff at Wisconsin, we've known them since they were at Cincinnati. And just we fell in love with them, man. Coach Fick, Coach Hitch, Coach Haynes, everybody on the staff, it just was super genuine. And that's really what won us over.
Yeah. I'd say it's a dog world. It's tough. Omillio and Dad traveled a lot during the recruiting process, and it was, I wanted to be a part of it, but I didn't, right? Because I'm his mom at the end of the day. I'm still mom, and I'm going to be emotional, and this is my kid, right? This is not just a football player. This is my kid. So, when it came down to narrowing it down and figuring out where we wanted to go, I'm like, yeah, I need to be hands all in at that point, because I need to see what people are like, what's their motive, are you being genuine with my kid? Because he is such a great kid, and, the recruiting process is really hard. So like he said, when we met Coach Fick, the recruiting staff, his wife, welcomed us into their home. It was just an amazing experience. And our 2 daughters were also with us. And my Emilio's 18. We have a 17-year-old daughter, his best friend. And she's like, this is it. You're going to Wisconsin. Like, this is it. Like, this is a place for you. This is where you're going. So it didn't take much, thought in that. It just felt like home, and I feel safe with him being there with them. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. And today's episode is also brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app today. Use code LOCKEDON for $20 off. What is Game Time? Game Time is the #1 place to find tickets to anything that you want, whether it's sports, whether it's comedy, whether it's theater, whether it's concerts, any type of sport. And you don't have to plan ahead. You don't have to worry about the logistics. There's last-minute flash sales. They have the biggest inventory of tickets. They have the best prices on tickets, and they have the biggest collection of different events to get tickets to. Plus, there's pictures of the seats, so you know exactly what you're looking at before you buy the ticket. Game Time is incredible. They're the fastest-growing ticketing platform in North America for a reason. Killer deals, last-minute tickets, best price guaranteed. You can stop stressing over tickets and get hyped for the fun that you're going to have. I've used this site. I've used it to buy tickets for somebody as a present. They are awesome. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms to apply. Again, create the account. Use the app. Code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets. Lowest prices guaranteed. You mentioned, I kind of want to just take that a step further. You mentioned being the mom, when it got to that point, really trusting the people. It sounds like Fickell and his staff and everybody there really found a way to separate themselves from other coaches and other people who were recruiting your son. Was there anything else about them or your conversations with them that just made it feel like this is it? That's the place. Those are the people.
Well, so when you go on these recruiting trips, you get around, they have these dinners, they have these events and these functions, and, they invite you, and you'll see the head coach spend the most time with, I guess, their top guys, like the guys they really, really, really want. And we've been the family at the back table waiting for the coach to come, and the coach just spent an hour and a half with his family and talks to us for 5 minutes. And it's like, well, I guess, that just tells you exactly how he feels about you. But when we went to Wisconsin, Coach Fick, just really spent the most time with us, really just showed us a lot of love and a lot of attention. And it really just showed us that, there's a room full of people here. We're a pretty high priority to them.
Yeah.
And that feels good, because when you see that and you have been around a while, that that's genuine, that's real. Like, they're going to spend the most time and they're going to show the most love to the priority of who's there for that official visit or that weekend. And that was another small clue as to, he's a priority here, and this is, the place for him.
A couple more questions here. I definitely want to get into it. This is from Deputy. Got to know where the Bucky outfit came in the commit video. Where'd you guys get that?
Oh my God. Are you going to tell? My God.
Oh man. So, the commitment is a long story. We had a whole nother idea that cost a lot of money that did not work out. So at the last minute, we were going to throw him an 18th birthday party. And the idea just came to me like in a dream, where I was just like, it would be really cool if we had the mascot come out, slap all the hats off the table, put the hat on you, and it's just going to be lit. And we went through hell trying to find it, because NCAA rules don't allow you to do certain things. But I had to work around that. I had to figure some things out. Yeah, so we had Bucky's twin brother at the party.
I love the fact that you're in your dreams. Bucky's in there. You're so Wisconsin already.
He's the visionary behind. Like, he's the visionary. It just was going to be. We knew that. First of all, Wisconsin. Nobody knew that Wisconsin was even in the top anything. Mm-hmm. Nobody had any clue at all. So, everybody was thinking Clemson and, maybe Penn State. Nobody had any idea. So when Bucky's cousin came out, that was definitely epic.
He's still in my garage right now. You want me to go get hot, say hi?
Dude, go put that. No.
You definitely do.
I love this question this is from Buckingham's Palace. He says, is there a way to set boundaries for your kids with coaches? So maybe, hey, after this point, you don't reach out to them, or after a recruitment, like you commit, did other schools still reach out? Were you able to do that? Was that a process or a decision for y'all?
Absolutely. It happened before the commitment, but after the commitment for sure. Schools reached out, and Omillio, I got to hand it to Omillio. He's just a very upfront, transparent kid. He let them know, look, I'm committed, and thank you, but no thank you. And before that, just like when your kid has 30 plus offers, you got coaches reaching out all day, all night. And he has homework. He gets home from practice at 8. He has training. He has all of these things. This is why we have to cut the list down to 5 and let certain coaches know, hey, look, thank you for your time, but we're moving in another direction, just because it's just too much for a 17-year-old to handle all of these things and still have a life.
Right.
So
yeah, that makes sense. That'd be tough. This is from Neza. Omillio, where's that name come from?
We're not, Nessa, don't do this because we are not going to agree on
I
this
named
name.
him.
We're not live, by the way. We can edit this out if you guys don't want to answer, but he's
No.
curious.
This is fun. This is cool. This is fun.
This has been a debate since Omillio has been a baby.
Okay.
I love it.
It's a debate. It really is. He's going to say he named him. And I'm going to tell you this, right? He did choose, I wanted to be Omillio with an A. He wanted it to be Omillio with an O. Omillio was in the hospital without a name. We knew what we wanted to name him, but didn't know how we wanted to spell it. And by the way, my aunt actually gave me the name. She said Omillio. She said Emilio with an E.
It came from somewhere.
Yeah, my aunt actually gave me the name.
But I think
And we were in the hospital debating because our oldest son's name starts with an A already. And I'm like, hey, we can just keep it A.
Right. Makes sense.
He put up a poll in the NICU because Omillio was
Everybody
in the
chose
NICU
Omillio.
for 7 days, and everybody chose. Oh, I think it might have been me and another nurse that chose with an A.
Yeah.
So the Omillio, that's his name.
I just thought it was cool, man.
It's a cool name. My sons were in the NICU too, so I definitely know what that's like. Izzy wants to know anybody that he's excited to work with in the cornerback room, or anybody you guys are excited to see him play with, either in the cornerback room or on defense on that team.
Rico.
What a year.
Yeah, man. Rico had an awesome year. We met Rico when we came on an official visit. He's a good dude. I can't wait for Mill to come in under him. He's gonna stay another year. I just saw that.
Yep.
So just so Mill can soak up as much game as possible from him. Yeah, so definitely Rico and the other guys in there, I know a couple names. Millio knows everybody, but definitely Rico, man. I like Rico.
Yeah, he had a great year. This one is from LJ. And you guys already kind of talked about this, but how difficult, it sounds like it came natural for Omillio to stay committed when other schools keep trying to jump in. I think a lot of younger players, younger people, it's easy to lose sight of what you've done when shiny things are flashing around in front of you.
I'll tell you this, it was not difficult for us to stay committed because we preach loyalty here. Like, you give somebody your word, you stand on your word. Like, you stand on it. Now the kids are saying, I stand on business. Like, that's what it is. We're standing on business. So even afterwards, we had schools reaching out after he was committed, after, Bucky's cousin came out and we had schools reaching out, but we are loyal to the game. We're your word is your word, and that's all you have at the end of the day. These people don't know who you are. They've never seen you play, in the college level. So if you're giving them your word and saying, hey, this is where I'm going, this is where I'm committed to, guess what? That's where you're going. That's where you're committed to.
That's awesome. That's an amazing answer. A couple more quick questions here. And again, I've already kept you for longer than the 20 minutes I said.
Minutes already?
It's been 26 already.
Oh,
yeah. But I would love to, if you guys have time, I'd love to bang across these questions from people. This one's from Robert Sorensen. Knowing what you know now, how would you maybe sell Wisconsin to someone in your area? Do people in that area know a lot about Wisconsin?
I would sell them on, Coach Fick and the staff. And Madison is beautiful.
Oh, yes.
Madison is beautiful. People do not, I've never heard of an isthmus. I think much more people need to know what an isthmus is because it's gorgeous, it's beautiful. I mean, fell in love with the city. But as far as, the tradition is awesome here. Jump around is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But just with Coach Fick, the staff, the reconfiguration of the Big Ten, and the direction that I see Wisconsin going in, y'all better get in now because we starting something. We starting something special over here, and we're gonna make history. And we just gonna sit back and be like, I told you so. But yes, it's definitely something special starting over here, and just get in, in the beginning so you could be part of history.
Yeah,
I love it. one of the comments from Omillio, I had him on the show, and he said his favorite meal, salmon. He said he loves it. Badger Thay says, what's the salmon recipe? Can we get that Agard salmon recipe?
It's not, guys, I promise you, I don't do anything special. My husband and my kids think that I'm like the best cook ever, and that's so flattering. But I don't do anything special to it. I mean, we do wild caught salmon here only. And I'm from the Caribbean. My parents are Jamaican, so I'm gonna spice it up a little bit, cook it over the stove and probably brown stew it. But it's not, like, I don't do anything special. I'll have to show you guys. I'll come to Madison and show you.
Coach Haynes came and got some of that salmon. He was loving it too.
Coach Haynes did have my salmon. That's right, he did.
That's awesome. Last question here in this group, and this is actually for you, Taquana. How do you watch the game? Are you a crazy, nervous, calm? How do you watch him play?
We are a football family. So I'm never like nervous. We pray before each game. My prayer is always that he goes out there, he doesn't get hurt, and he has a great time. Right. And of course to win, but I'm that dog in your face mom. Like, I'm going to be like, that's my son. That's me. That's him on the field. And definitely he's not like that, like when you meet him in person, but when I'm watching his game, like I'm all over it. So I'm crazy. I guess it was nervous, crazy, and calm. I'm probably crazy, just a little.
Last question here. This is just from me. I always ask recruits this when they come on the show, but this is great to get your perspective. Any message for Badger fans? Anything else they don't know about your son or what's coming?
So I would say they're going to get a lockdown corner. Lockdown. Guaranteed.
What would I say? Oh, I'm going to say, and the message for them, just treat my son good, guys. He's a good kid. Treat him good, because I don't want to have to come there. No, treat him good. You guys are definitely getting a great person all around. He's going to be so good on the field, great off the field. He's a great teammate. Like, yes. He is, like, you just have to be around him. He's so contagious. Like, his spirit is so contagious. And that's what we love about him. Like, you could be having the worst day ever, and he'll come in and be like, listen, it's not that bad, make you laugh. He's an all around good person, forget football, forget the accolades, forget all of, the stuff. He's an all around good person. You guys are getting a good person. So just treat my son well.
And the world needs more of those, right? Good people. So that's awesome. And so it's been great. It's been 31 minutes already. Justin Taquana Agard joining me on the show. I really appreciate the time. And after taking the opportunity to speak with you, it's no surprise how well-spoken and mature Omillio is. Like, that clearly comes from a very good place.
Thank you.
For everyone listening, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been a lot of fun. And we'll talk tomorrow, as we always do on Locked On Badgers, but really do appreciate the time. On Wisconsin.
All right.
Wisconsin.